Welcome to The Next Chapter, the podcast that reveals how your mindset can be the silver bullet to overcoming your midlife adversity. Join author Robert Miller and his co-author Monica Laurie as they share the collective wisdom from thousands of hours of client discussions and their decades of combined experience to help you prepare for the next chapter in your life. But in order to change your life, you must first change your mindset. It's time to turn how into now as we begin the next chapter.
Hi and welcome, it's Robert. And thanks for tuning in. It's great to be with you today, and we're going to explore why our mindset is such a critical factor in staying centered and grounded in the world around us. One that seems to be on fire, with new crises emerging almost daily, and really doesn't seem to be any antidote on the horizon that's going to fix what's broken. However, it's so important to remember that in life, what happens to us and around us may not be our choice, but how we respond always is. And notice that I said respond appropriately, not react, because we're not a pinball in an arcade game or a ping pong ball that bounces erratically off everything in its path. You know, one of the interesting things Monica and I observed over the thousands of hours of face-to-face conversations with our clients over the last 30 years is that we often want drama without trauma. We want stability without boring predictability, and want social interaction without anybody having expectations of us. We want relationship intimacy without commitment. We want to be admired without feeling watched. We want to be heard without any judgment. We want to be able to speak without scrutiny, to live without rules, and die without being accountable, or to have those aha and wow moments without the oh no experiences that seem to be such a part of life. You know, surprisingly, this appears to be the mindset of a growing segment of those around us, and particularly those under 30. Is this just overly simplistic, or a few cleverly coined terms? Well, maybe not. But it seems to be symptomatic of a shift in how people appear to want to live their lives. And it remains to be seen how today's turbulent global events and the inevitable adversity these young people may encounter in the next chapter of their own lives may reshape these paradoxical views. But nonetheless, the millennial generation they're part of is even larger than the 100 million baby boomers in North America. And their millennial worldview will change the future just as surely as the baby boomer generation, including the hippies of the 60s, shaped the last 40 years of the 20th century. For some of us, no matter how resilient we think we are, we're surrounded with that endless stream of information that our always connected lifestyles have come to depend on. And whether it's Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or just plain old text messaging and email, there seems to be this compelling urgency in our society to stay up to date every minute of the day. And that addiction called FOMO, fear of missing out, it's so traumatic that people get an anxiety attack if they misplace their phone or are separated from it even for a short period of time. In a world where we're surrounded by everything one needs to be comfortable in life, why are so many people stressed or angry or disappointed, frustrated, bitter, rebellious, even afraid? Well, sadly, from our experience, the answer seems to lie in that gap, the gap between expectations each of us developed about how things should be and the reality of the world we live in and the way things truly are. You see, from our youthful expectations through those midlife disappointments and on to later life fulfillment, our new book, The Next Chapter, Change the Mindset, Change Your Life, offers an insightful journey and highlights how a thoughtfully crafted lifestyle plan can provide the compass and a roadmap to navigate our path more predictably and in line with our values, beliefs, and expectations from yesterday through to tomorrow. Now, Monica and I are often asked, so why did you write the next chapter? And the answer is, we felt compelled to share the insights, the learning, and collective wisdom shared with us across those thousands of conversations. We couldn't possibly share all 230 pages of information compiled in this book in any other way. When we're asked to autograph our book, we often inscribe it with the note, in life, what happens to us and around us may not be our choice, but how we respond always is. And to this end, change the mindset, change your life is more than just a catchy cliche. It can be a life-changing way of dealing with all this stuff we're inundated with daily. Or, as another wise person shared with me, if I can't change the outcome of a situation, then I focus on those things where I can. And while this does not mean we stay unaware of world events, it does mean and offer a plausible way of focusing our energy and resources on those things local that we can actually affect. In the words of one reviewer of our book, standing at the intersection where our values, expectations, priorities collide, incompatible goals and lifestyle choices many of us tried to adopt in our 20s and 30s. The next chapter demonstrates the regenerative power a midlife event can bring. Just as every cloud can have a silver lining, midlife adversity can be the catalyst that changes our mindset to create a future we truly want through the lifestyles and homes and later life escapes we choose for ourselves. And while there's no magic pill that erases the pain and hurt of the past, how we respond and prioritize to what's most important going forward is a series of decisions that can reshape the quality and the quantity of our life ahead, including our mindset, our health, our relationships, our concept of time, our finances, what's outstanding on our bucket list, and what will our legacy be when we're gone. By focusing on the glass half full, the next chapter offers a reboot option to create our own future ahead. When we're asked how we came about the title, well, Monica and I went to France as one of our bucket list trips and to celebrate her 65th birthday. While we were on a tour from Paris to Monaco, we met 93-year-old Marie, who was traveling with her 84-year-old friend who'd also lost her husband. Now, while chatting about the 7 priorities, I asked Marie if she thought that health was the most important thing to her at her age. And she said, "Oh no, Sonny, you're wrong." She said, "Before I roll over in bed in the morning, I say to myself, what a beautiful day it is. Whether it's raining or snowing or freezing out, doesn't matter. Because if I wait until I roll over and my feet hit the floor for my body to tell me how I'm feeling, then it's likely going to be a very different kind of day." Simply put, no matter what's happening in our life right now, it's a choice, how we choose to respond appropriately. Easy to do? No, of course not. It takes practice and time to reflect on what's truly important to us in our own life. Unfortunately, our virtual world seems to have disconnected us from one another. We've lost that face-to-face human experience, and no, FaceTime and Zoom interactions cannot replace a handshake, a hug, or putting your hand on someone's shoulder who needs to be heard and feel appreciated. The next chapter is a compilation of over 130 topics based on those thousands of hours of face-to-face conversations with clients who actually experienced this and the collective learnings from those. While Monica and I shared many of these with our clients over the past 30 years as professional realtors, we recognized the importance of capturing these so they could be shared more broadly. And what better way to crystallize them than in a book? Then together with our blogs and podcasts, we're able to make these available to many people and who could benefit from these as possible. One of the 7 priorities we talk about is what is the legacy we hope to be remembered for. And to that end, Monica and I believe that having the opportunity to work with thousands of clients who've been buying and selling homes, as well as those trying to figure out what the best strategy was for them in their own circumstances, we believe the next chapter was a way for us to pay it forward, or maybe phrased differently, to give back. Many readers have shared with us how the stories have captured the essence of various situations in the book, helped them and their family deal with some difficult topics. So in closing, let me share that opening quote with you again, as it seems to characterize that expectation gap I mentioned earlier in this podcast. One of the paradoxes of our life is that we want drama without trauma, stability without boring predictability, social interaction without expectations, intimacy without commitment, to be admired without feeling watched, to be heard without judgment, to speak without scrutiny, to live without rules, and die without being accountable, and finally to have aha and wow moments without the oh no experiences. Sadly, this tends to capture the dilemma of why so many are grappling with across all generations today. Wouldn't it be great if we could just wave a magic wand and our life could be pre-ordered like this? But for most of us, it's not realistic. So instead, the opportunity is to live our life as a glass half full. And remember that how we respond to the news cycle and the uncertainty around us is a choice. Change the mindset. Change your life. Thanks. And until we meet again for another episode of the next chapter, we're signing off. Have a great day.
Thanks for tuning in to The Next Chapter. If this podcast was interesting or helpful, please share it with friends. And be sure to click the thumbs up to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Remember, if you change your mindset, you can change your life.